Well, hello there. This is Craig Hain. My students call me Dr. Dell. And we get questions all the time by parents. How do I explain to my student what good math is for them? They say, what good is math for me? Well, what's my answer to that? And once I answer that question, then what do I do about it? How do I actually then teach them the math that I've told them is good for them and what they can do with it? And that's what this video is about. This is aimed at parents, and I've had several conversations like this with parents, and it's really seemed to have helped them a lot. Well, the first thing you've got to know before you can even answer that question is, what is math? So here's what I tell my students right away. It's two things. First of all, it's numbers for either counting things or measuring things. And you learned all about that in elementary school. You count things up, you use a decimal number system, you got 125 this, 250 of that, or you have fractional amounts of things. You only have a third of this or three-fourths of that if you're doing certain things. And you measure things, feet, miles, whatever it may be. So you count and measure with numbers. Now, geometry, you also know quite a bit about. How long is something? What's the area of a square or a circle? What's the volume of something? These are things you need to know for all sorts of things in life. And that's what math is all about, really. Now, the problem is, how do you use these concepts of numbers and geometry to actually figure out things? Well, you need tools. Now, the first tool you're going to learn is another math tool. It's called algebra. And some people have had a bad experience with it and they're afraid of it, but actually algebra, when you first learn and just learn what you need to do what I call practical math, is very easy. Students are amazed at how easy it is when I teach it to them. Then, how do you calculate with numbers? Now, the old-fashioned way is using pencil and paper with a lot of tools our ancestors developed a couple hundred years ago or hundreds of years ago. But today we got something called a scientific calculator, and that's the way you do arithmetic today. And it's very, very easy to use once you learn how to use it. And then we have an even more modern tool that a lot of people never heard of. It's called Wolfram Alpha. And this is something that everybody needs to know about. And that's going to make math extremely easy, even as you go on and on beyond the basic foundations. So that's kind of what math is. And I'm going to show you just very quickly here these two tools that I talked to you about. The scientific calculator is the TI-30XA, and I urge everybody, if you don't have one, to go get one. They're less than $10. You can get them anywhere. This is on Amazon. You can get them at Walmart, lots of other stores. And it is a marvelous calculator. I can't tell you how nice it is. I use it all the time. In fact, I carry two or three of them around in case, because I have them in different places, and I use it all the time. It's very easy to use and very useful. Now, the other thing I mentioned to you, and I use this a lot too when I'm doing math, is Wolfram Alpha. Now, this is a fantastic new tool. Was introduced to the world in 2009. It's free. And it does all sorts of things. Unbelievable tool. And you absolutely want to teach your student how to use this tool. Every student is going to want to learn how to use this tool. Okay, now let's answer the question that the student asks. What good is math going to do me? Why do I care about math? Why do I have to study math? Okay, here's the reason. There's all sorts of things that you may want to do in your life, hobbies or jobs that involve technical subjects. There's thousands and thousands of technical subjects. Now, unlike natural language where you have thousands of different languages that you would have to learn, there's only one language that you need for any technical subject, basically. It's an underlying universal language. It's called math. The math that I'm going to tell you that you want to teach your child, particularly to begin, will open up the doors for thousands of these technical subjects. And this also, by the way, for many students, creates thousands of career paths. There are literally hundreds of thousands of jobs today in the United States, high-paid jobs, great jobs, that if you knew the technical subject, you would be able to do the job. The problem is you can't learn the technical subject until you know the math. And that's where many people fall down. And our high schools today are not teaching the math that you need for these technical subjects. They bury it with a whole bunch of other math. It makes it difficult. And many, many students now are failing at the high school level. Even if they're not failing and getting F's, they're still not learning the math they need. Now, just to tell you a little bit about these technical subjects, to show you what I'm talking about, for over 3 decades, I had a company called Hain Training. Then it became Learn Maintenance. I sold this company several years ago. So this is not an active website, but you can still go look at it. And we offered workshops on many, many technical subjects. To literally, we trained thousands and thousands of what were called skilled tradesmen for companies like General Motors and Caterpillar and the military and public utilities and on and on. And this was our website. Now, we had about 50 different courses we offered, workshops we call it. Let's look at the electrical. I'll go down here and click on electronic workshops. Electrical controls, industrial electronics maintenance, electrical print reading, National Electrical Code, fundamentals of mechanical craft, on and on and on. These were all workshops. Now, each one of these workshops was like 4 or 5 days long. It was hands-on, on-site, cost several $1,000s. And we had about 35 instructors teaching these things. And the companies needed their technicians to learn this stuff so they could do their job. And so that's why they bought it. And what we found in all of these subjects, I'll go to the mechanical next. Look at all the mechanical workshops. Bearing life improvement, geometric dimensioning, maintenance welding, on and on. The common thing that almost all of the students lacked, and these were adults now, skilled tradesmen, high paid, they didn't have the math they needed. So we teach them the math they needed so they could learn the technical subject. If you don't know the right math, you can't learn industrial rigging. You got to know certain math for that. Mechanical power system, how to troubleshoot them. You got to know math for that. Bearing life improvement, on and on. Just, you could go look at all these. And there's many more than this. This is just the ones we taught. We had about 50 of them, about 35 instructors. Well, the math they needed, it can be condensed into a very, very effective course called Workforce Math. And there's a website called Workforce Math. So if you're interested at all in getting a job or a career in the technical field, and you don't have to go to college to do this now. In fact, you don't want to go to college to do this. Go to Workforce Math and learn what you need to learn. And you'll find it's extremely easy to learn. And I'll tell you how that is in a minute and why that is. So this is this is one reason that you might want to learn math. Like I said, it might be for a hobby, landscaping, carpentry, cooking, just interior decorating, on and on and on. And then I give you some examples in Hain Training and the Workforce Math. Now, that leads to the question then that the student might ask, they should have, but certainly the parent needs to know, what topics should the student learn today? Well, I believe that you've got to start out and learn foundational math. And so we've put together, and you can go get this at Homeschooler today to learn about it, a math curriculum. It's a 6-tier program, and it starts out with the basic math that everybody ought to learn, tiers 1 and 2. And you can go there and get a syllabus, and I'll show you the syllabus in a moment, but you can go study it and download it yourself. And after you learn what's in tiers 1 and 2, which I'll show you in a moment, basic math you need for all these technical fields, most everybody needs what we call consumer math. This is some math to help you as a consumer as you go through your life. Very useful for everybody. And if you are at all interested in technical subjects in the workforce, you want a subject called quantitative reasoning. So these are all things that we cover now, and this is how you start out. Most students can learn tiers 1 and 2 in a semester. And then another semester, they can learn these things. So in 1 year, now if a student's really slow or takes a lot of time, maybe it takes 2 years. It doesn't matter. Remember, this is high school level math. And you can start most students on this when they're anywhere from 10 to 12 years old. It's post-elementary. They need to know the number system. That's all they need to know is the decimal number system, which you presumably have taught them that. Now you may say, well, I'll say, what about a student who wants to go to college? Well, then you've got tier 3. Now you've got more algebra and special topics that you need if you're going to take the tests to get into college, SAT, ACT, CLT. And so that was what we cover in tier 3. Now I will tell you, if you're not interested in science and engineering, you probably won't use a lot of this stuff. That's true. You just need it to take these doggone tests that they make you take. And there's nothing, that's the world we live in. So tier 3 is for college-bound student. But here's the interesting thing. You learn some algebra and other special topics and so on, and I'll show you the syllabus of it. No secret to it. And we do use a book for the first time I'll tell you about too. That's a great book you need to know about. You'll all want to know about. I'm going to tell you a minute about it. And it takes about a year for most students to go through this. But let me tell you this. If you're interested in science and engineering, STEM they call it, you're nowhere near ready to go to a good school. You now need a lot more math. Now in Tier 4, we cover pre-calculus. It's the same subjects, algebra, geometry, trigonometry, at a much deeper level, and we use a wonderful textbook to do it, along with all of our videos and training. We also teach you the complex number system, never done in high school today properly, almost never, and you need to know that. We teach you about functions, and most importantly, we teach you the new modern tool, Wolfram Alpha. That is something everybody needs to know. We then in Tier 5 teach you calculus. Now calculus, historically, has been a great barrier for science and engineering students. Very difficult. Old manual algorithms that were developed in the 1700s. Today that's all gone. Wolfram Alpha is the key to that. And you can learn calculus in one semester. All the calculus you're going to need for science and engineering. And we go further. The workhorse of STEM are differential equations. That's never taught in high school today, hardly ever. Wolfram Alpha makes it possible. A good student starting at age 12 can go through all 6 of these tiers by the time they're 16 or 17 years old, before they probably graduate from high school. Now, obviously, only the students that want to go into STEM are going to do these upper tiers. But if you have a STEM student, or one thing they might be interested in STEM, you definitely want to do that. In the rare occasion you have somebody that thinks they want to be a math professional mathematician, that's a huge subject. There's lots and lots of material that's never taught in high school that should be for these people. In fact, it can't be taught in high school, but I teach it in Tier 7 through 10. At least that's the plan. The first 6 tiers are done today, and then we're going to be doing Tier 7 through 10 soon. Now let me go and talk to you about the math curriculum that I mentioned earlier. If you go to Homeschooler today and go to the curriculum tab, you're going to find all about the math curriculum. And by the way, you'll learn about how we teach it with our family plan. It's very inexpensive. You'll learn all about that. In fact, it's very easy today for a parent to teach this math I'm telling you about at home. Whether your child is going to an actual school or not, you can do it at home with this program. Now you can download the complete syllabus for what I'm telling you about and study it. But what I started out was telling you about was tiers 1 and 2. This is the practical math, and I'm going to review that in a little bit of detail for you here on the syllabus. Then you can look at Tier 3, which gets you ready for your college prep test. Tier 4 gets you ready for STEM. Tier 5 is calculus, and I didn't put the syllabus for Tier 6 in here, but it's available. Once you go through calculus, Tier 6 is differential equations. And this tells you all about it. High school equivalencies. If you're homeschooling, you need to know what this is equivalent to. This tells you everything about what's included in it, and so on and so forth. And indeed, if you need help with your elementary math, we've even got some programs for that we tell you about at Homeschooler today. So that's something you definitely want to do. Now, I mentioned earlier a wonderful book that we start using actually in Tier 3 a little bit, and then in Tier 4. It's called Pre-Calculus Mathematics in a Nutshell, Geometry, Algebra, Trigonometry, by the most wonderful teacher, Dr. George Simmons. I tell you a lot about him in a book I'm about to tell you about that you can get for free. But this George Simmons book is a wonderful book. It's only 119 pages long, and I will tell you right now, there's math in this book that most high school graduates today from regular schools don't know. In fact, a lot of high school math teachers don't know it. It's wonderful. You as a parent should at least read the preface and the introductions. I use the book when I teach it as a teacher. It's only $17 at Amazon. And I don't know of any school that's ever used it. It's been around since 1988. It's fantastic. In fact, I had my youngest son study math out of this book when he was in the 8th grade, shortly after it came out. I helped him a little bit. He mostly did it on his own, and he won a scholarship to Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology, a great engineering school in Indiana, in the 8th grade because of this book. In fact, he knew more math then than most of the high school math teachers did, and he did not, by the way, go and take advantage of the scholarship. He went into business and did other things and has had a very successful career that way. Now, there is a book I've written recently that I want to tell you about, and it's called the How and Why Homeschool Math Can Be Vastly Superior to Public School Math. Now, whether you're a homeschool teacher or not, even if your students go into a regular school, you can teach them math at home. So this applies to people that do it all full time and people that just want to improve math for their child. And this book's all about that. Now you can download a free copy. It's a pre-publication version. We haven't actually published it yet. It's a pre-publication version. You can download a PDF copy of it. Or you can come to this website and I actually have an audio, YouTube video, but it's essentially an audio of every one of these chapters. And you'll learn all about math, what you should teach different categories of children, how you should teach it, what you can do as a coach, how you can get a teacher like me to do it, on and on and on. Chapter 11 is something every young adult ought to read. It's how to become financially independent in life. Even if you're going to college, how to do it without college debt. That alone, it would be worth a fortune to most students that are thinking of going to college. So this book is something I highly recommend you get. Now the question is, how can you get your free copy? Well, here's what you do. You're going to go to a site I'm going to tell you about in a minute and get a free complimentary copy. This site talks all about what's in the book and tells you what you're going to learn and all that. Gives you some book reviews, tells you a little bit about me, quite a bit actually. And then I have a website you can go to, my personal website, and learn all about me. And then you could go claim your copy. And all you got to do to claim your copy is come down here and fill out this application. And if you got questions, we have a phone number you can call us. And give us your name and your email address essentially, and how many students you've got that are high school age, and submit it, and we will then give you your free copy. And by the way, in addition to the book, there's a ton of other free stuff that's available that we're going to give you too, because we want you to give your child the very best math education possible. We have some products that we can sell you if you understand what their needs are and know which products to buy. And that's what this book's all about, is to educate both the parent and the student about what they really need. Okay, now that you've watched this video, I'm going to tell you how you can get your free publication copy from this video. How and Why Homeschool Math Can Be Vastly Superior to Public School Math. Go to www.vastlysuperiormath.com/NHEG. NHEG is the sponsor of this video and is why you're going to be able to get this free book and lots of other free stuff by going there. So go to this website and download that. So this is Craig Hain, aka Dr. Dell, my students. I hope this has been a valuable video for you. You're going to get a lot of free stuff. You're going to buy a great book, the George Simmons book, great calculator. You're going to do lots of things for your children. All I want you to do is give your child an optimal math education for your child. And with the resources I've given you and with this book I've given you, you should now, even if you don't know any math yourself, know how to do it, know where to get the resources to do it, and I encourage you to do it. So that's wishing you and your children a great life. Dr. Dell, I will probably see you on some other videos.